It's been a really good couple of weeks and hours for Manchester United fans. Obviously, the win against Man City and Arsenal was really good. But unfortunately, we woke up to a really sad news that Patrick Dorgu has picked up an unfortunate injury. Obviously, in the game against Arsenal, he came off in the second half after picking up what seems to be a hamstring injury. So hopefully, he's not going to be out for too long. Yeah, I think it's really sad. Obviously, he just started to pick up form. He has been criticized by a lot of people, but he started performing well in the last couple of games. But unfortunately, he picked up an injury, and it's going to affect us for the rest of the season. Obviously, we need Patrick. He's the left winger. He plays as a left back also, so it's going to be a massive miss. And obviously, we don't really have a left winger. Even Patrick himself wasn't really a left winger. We only had Garnacho, Sancho, Rashford. Those are the only left wingers that we've had the past couple of years. So United obviously need to do some work in that position. Obviously, Patrick did a good job there. Obviously, we have Mateus Cunha. He has played there before for Wolves. He can do a good job there, but obviously Cunha is more of a 10, but we have to play him there since we don't have Patrick. And going into this transfer window, United obviously has to do something because we have an injury in a really important position and we don't have a lot of players there to actually help out. And obviously, United were in talks to sign Antoine Semenyo at the start of the January transfer window, but we missed out to Manchester City. Manchester City was able to get the deal done for Semenyo. It was a 65 million release clause that they were able to trigger, and obviously United missed out on the deal. Semenyo snubbed us and chose Man City over us, obviously because Man City are in a better place right now. They have a good manager. They are competing for the Champions League, for the Premier League, and obviously the domestic trophies. And obviously, a 25-year-old like Semenyo, who has been through lots of difficulties in his career, would want to have good times in his career. He hasn't really played. He hasn't played in the Champions League, so playing the Champions League would be a good experience. Working under a world-class manager in Pep Guardiola would be a really good experience for him. So obviously, I feel like him picking Man City was the best option for his career. But obviously, if he was a United fan, he would obviously join us. But if he's making the decision based on his career, I feel like the Man City move was the best. So obviously, United missed out on the move. And ever since then, we haven't really gone for a winger because obviously that was an opportunity in the window. That wasn't really our priority. We know that the priority for us is midfield. Obviously, Casemiro is going at the end of the season. We need a new midfielder, but Semenyo was a really good opportunity for us to actually go for. But obviously, we've missed him, and ever since then, we haven't been active in that position. Obviously, we've been linked to names like Jan Diomant of RB Leipzig. Obviously, he's just coming back from the AFCON and he's going to be really expensive. Leipzig just signed him in the summer. So there's nothing that can be done in January. Any move will be done in the summer transfer window. And obviously, it's going to be really expensive. I think Leipzig have already talked about it being about 90 million euros, something like that. So it's going to be really expensive. And obviously, Semenyo went for way cheaper, 25-year-old Premier League experience for 65 million euros. I feel like that was a really good deal for us to do, but unfortunately, we missed out on the deal to Man City. Yeah, and the news coming out today and in the recent hours is that United are in the race to sign Iliman Ndiaye. Obviously, Iliman Ndiaye is a winger from Everton. He's a really good player. We've played against him lots of times in preseason. He's a really versatile player. He can play left wing, right wing, and obviously still within the price range of Antoine Semenyo. So he'll be a really good player to get. Obviously, United are not going to spend that kind of money with the remaining days left in the window. Obviously, we have just less than a week in the January transfer window. So Iliman Idea wouldn't be a deal for January, it would be a deal for the summer. Yeah, so hopefully he's a name that United can look at. Obviously, United were in the race for Antoine Semenyo, a 26-year-old, obviously picked Man City over us. Yeah, we wanted to get Semenyo, but he picked Man City, and obviously Iliman Ndiaye is a really good player, has lots of skills, and Team Talk is saying that he has lots of admirers within the club. Obviously, his style of play, his profile, and he's seen as a strong fit for the United team. So obviously, I feel like he's going to be a really good signing for us, and obviously, it's going to be a summer move. It's going to be a summer move. He's played for us. I know lots of people have concerns of him being Cameroonian, being him being African. Obviously, United got affected massively because of the AFCON. Lots of our players left and went to play in the AFCON. Obviously, likes of Brian Mbomo, Amad Diallo, and Mazraoui, all of them left to play for the AFCON and they weren't back in a long time. So obviously, we have really talented players, so all their nations made it far in the competition. So we had to cope without them. But there's a new rule that's going to take effect from next season that obviously the African Cup of Nations is going to be held. It's going to be held in the summer because obviously I feel like teams were massively affected by this, and obviously signing players you have to take that into consideration because you can't just lose important players to tournaments halfway through a season. Obviously, you have to consider that while signing players. So I feel like it was a good change for them to make the competition in the summer similar to the Euros. So obviously that wouldn't be a hindrance when signing players. So that's not going to be an issue going into next season. Obviously, India is a really good player, and there's talks about it being a fee of 75 million pounds to sign him, sign Iliman Ndiaye. Looking at the talent he has, I would say that's just about right. Just about a good fee to pay for him. Obviously, looking at Brian Mbumo, we paid a similar amount. United paid 71 million pounds for him. And Iliman Ndiaye is a similar kind of player, not a similar kind of player, a similar kind of player to Cunha with more aggression, with more tenacity on the ball and off the ball. He's really skillful. So he'd be a really good player for us to get. Obviously played for Everton, really skillful player and really versatile. He can play as a left winger, he can play as a right winger, he can play as a 10. So he'll be a really good player to get. A really good player to get. Let's just hope and see that United actually make a move in the summer to get him. Obviously, we didn't get Semenyo, so a winger is a priority. Obviously, the injury to Patrick Dorgu is going to be a really huge miss, but that's football. Bad things can happen, but you have to keep moving on, keep moving forward. Yeah, Iliman Ndiaye, Patrick Dorgu. Obviously, we got the injury to Dorgu, and obviously bringing in, getting a player like Iliman Ndiaye is going to be really beneficial for this United side, especially now that we're struggling to finish in the top four. United needs to finish in the top four to even have an attempt or even have the capacity to get a player like Iliman Ndiaye, because obviously I don't think the left wing is the priority going into the summer transfer window. Obviously, United are short in the midfield. We lack quality in the midfield. Casemiro is going at the end of the season. Bruno Fernandes, there's doubts about his future. So obviously, we're looking at the likes of Carlos Baliba, Elliot Anderson, Adam Wharton. So let's see what happens between now and the end of the season. If United finish in the top four, hopefully we do. And the last few days of the January transfer window, if United can actually make a loan move or some sort of move for a player that can help us to achieve the goal of obviously qualifying for the Champions League. Yeah.